It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Kyle Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's Countywide.
Hi, welcome to Countywide. I'm Kyle Benedict, and today I'm joined with forester from the Prescott National Forest, Forester Ben DeBlois, and wildlife biologist Noel Fletcher. But thank you both for being here today.
Thank you for having us, Kyle.
You guys have a lot going on the Prescott National Forest right now. I mean, we're talking about today specifically a lot of your partnerships with upcoming projects and projects that are kind of underway right now. And I guess first off, we'll kind of just run through them, talking about the Bradshaw Vegetation Management Project. Noel, kind of what is that project and what's the purpose of it?
The Bradshaw Vegetation Management Project is 55,000 acres just south and east and west of Prescott. Now, the Prescott National Forest is over 1 million acres. Wow. And that's a lot of acres to manage, and we can't do it alone. And so with this project, the Bradshaw Veg Project, we call it, we're looking for partners to help us accomplish what we've set out to do. The purpose behind this project is it's set in what is called the wildland-urban interface, kind of where the city meets the forest and homes and things like that. And it's twofold. We want to reduce the risk of fire through fuels management, and we want to restore the health of the forest through forest health treatments. We want to make it healthier. And so we have looked to some partners to help us accomplish some of those goals and objectives. It costs money to run equipment, to pay people to go do things, and so we're looking for people who will benefit. And it's interesting, that might be people in the city of Prescott, but some of the other more unique partners might be the National Wild Turkey Federation, or the Arizona Game and Fish Department, or Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, or a recreation group. We like to work with everybody, whoever. And it's interesting because while there are turkeys in the project area, some conservation groups will do it just to help whatever wildlife are in the area. And so we come at it from a lot of different angles.
Do you approach these partners to help partner, up with these projects, or do they come to you, or how does this work?
It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Sometimes they come to us with ideas and projects, and other times we seek out their advice, input, their perspective, and then ask them to come alongside us. So it's definitely a two-way street when it comes to partnerships.
And obviously, there's many projects that you guys have at least just listed here that are upcoming and going on. Why is this so important? I mean, to reintroduce, I guess, fire into this area, and what are you guys trying to prevent in the future?
The key part is fire was a natural process on the landscape, and we've disrupted that natural process. And with that comes a whole different series of events that aren't necessarily healthy. And we're seeing that more and more with the larger landscape fires. And what we want to do is use mechanical means, like timber sale or a piece of equipment, to manipulate and change the vegetation so that if and when fire does get back on the landscape, it's in a healthy way that we can feel comfortable and safe letting fire do its natural disturbance process.
And this Bradshaw Vegetation Project, what's the total acreage on that one again?
55,000 acres plus.
Wow. And how long, that's over?
We're hoping that will last for about 10 years. Is that about right? 10 years.
Exactly, 10 years.
Yeah, so we're hoping that the process that we did, it's called an environmental assessment, an EA. You've heard that term. Under our favorite term, NEPA, National Environmental Policy Act. That's the environmental law that requires us to disclose what we're doing. And we're hoping that the analysis that we did under that will give us about 10 years worth of work in this 55,000 acres.
Wow, I mean that's amazing. And what you're talking about the partners, you guys have a partnership with the Highland Center for Natural History.
We do.
Going on right now. Can you talk a little bit about that partnership, Ben?
Yeah, the Highland Center for Natural History is kind of an outdoor education center. So they do a lot of school programs, they outreach to the community, and they approached us. We kind of approached them at the same time, the two-way street that Noel was talking about doing some hazardous fuels reduction on their 80-acre special use permit area they have on the Prescott National Forest. And what we came up with is actually their 80-acre parcel could become a microcosm of the Bradshaw Vegetation Management Project. So what we're trying to do with them is implement a whole host of different vegetation treatments right there on their 80-acre parcel. So if somebody had a question, say, about what does a commercial timber sale look like? What does a prescribed burn look like? You know, they can come to the Highland Center and view all these different treatments that we've done there. And again, that goes back to the main goal behind that is to restore fire back into the ecosystem.
And part of their goal, I guess, here is education as well. And what's some of the, I guess, educational purposes of having Highland Center for Natural History there? I mean, what's something that maybe they're getting out of it, I guess, or just education? What are they trying to do for that?
Well, one thing, we're protecting their campus. They have a multi-million-dollar facility they've built there, so we're protecting their campus. And then they're very visible in the community. They can outreach to the community in a way we probably can't. And so they'll fulfill that role with us.
And you're talking about, you mentioned thinning, and there's different processes and ways to go about this, you know, thinning the forest. Kind of, I guess, just running through them, mechanical, you mentioned, Noel, the mechanical treatment. What does that consist of? I mean, obviously machines and things like that, but what's the difference between that and something, say, the prescribed fire?
Well, the mechanical can be anything from a timber sale, which is a commercial timber sale where someone buys the timber and they come in with large pieces of equipment. They cut the trees down, they put them on a truck, and they take them down to a mill. It could be pre-commercial thinning, where the trees are not big enough for a product, but we want them cut down anyway so that we create a little more space for the trees that are left. And so that involves a lot of people and chainsaws. And then the other one is what we call mastication. Masticate simply means to chew. We all masticate when we eat. We chew our food. Well, we have a piece of equipment that chews plants and plant material. And it chews them up, spits them out, and puts them back down on the ground. So now you've taken a plant that was 12 feet tall, and you've put it down on the ground. Now when fire comes through, that plant won't be a ladder fuel to take the fire up into the canopy of the trees.
Slow.
It stays on the ground, and you've just changed the fire behavior by masticating the vegetation.
And very interesting.
And we have to do that near communities where we could not implement a prescribed burn next to
protect the
houses.
community.
Yeah.
That's where we manipulate the vegetation to change the fire behavior so it's safe when it comes back in.
Great. Okay, well, we're going to take our first break, and then when we come back, we'll touch on some of these other treatments. Sitting down with Forester Ben Deblois and wildlife biologist Noel Fletcher from the Prescott National Forest. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Really? Buzz, what's up, man? You left some leaves burning out here.
Yeah, I just came in just for a second.
Come on, man. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. You could torch the whole neighborhood.
It's a good point there, Smokey.
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Get caught buzz driving, and you could do some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom.
It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
we finally bought a place.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
At the end of the month, we have nothing left to save. How is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Good one, son.
Last summer, my new dad took me on vacation. First, we went deep sea fishing.
Wow! I'm so proud of you, son.
And then we went on Thunder Shark. That was awesome! Let's go again. 3 times. I gotta say, it was pretty cool.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Oh, not again.
Hi, welcome back to Countywide. I'm Kyle Benedict, and sitting down with 2 members of the Prescott National Forest, Forester Ben DeBlois and wildlife biologist Noel Fletcher. And we're talking about your guys' partnerships with projects that you guys have going on as far as forest restoration. And specifically right now we're talking about the partnership project with the Highland Center for Natural History. Talk a little bit about that program and some of the grants maybe that are to help fund this project.
So the Highland Center for Natural History was able to get a Resource Advisory Council, a RAC grant, to help pay for this treatment here. And one thing you'll notice that we talked about a huge area, 55,000 acres.
Yeah.
Well, now we're looking at an 80-acre area, so we used a much finer paintbrush, so to speak, instead of a broad, it's a much finer scale. And we were able to contract with the Student Conservation Association, and they have a program where they hire military veterans, post 9/11 vets. And so we were able to hire them, and they actually came out and did some hand thinning, some chipping, did a lot of work all around there. So this was kind of the first phase of the project, and we really liked the results. It turned out very nice. We did a little bit of meadow restoration, some riparian restoration, as well as some fuels reduction work.
Wow, so you guys, I mean, you benefiting them. I mean, they're out there working outside. I'm sure, you know, they love to work and looking for work. I mean, that's something that's, you know, kind of big right now, is making sure that we're getting these veterans jobs and helping them with working and everything. But, and I think it's important to mention that in order to kind of accomplish and achieve this long-term goal, I mean, there's going to be some short-term things, you know, whether it's, you know, prescribed burning or you guys are doing all this work out there on these projects. But the goal, that's all temporary impact, I guess, right? Like you were talking about, Noel, during the break, is that, you know, there's many of these temporary things that people see. You see smoke up in the air, but the long-term goal is to benefit the community and benefit really the forest, right? With these.
We want to explain that while there are short-term impacts, we really want to focus on the long-term benefit. There may be some soil disturbance, there may be some animals displaced, and we've analyzed all that and disclosed all of that, and we are within legal parameters and guidelines set out by other agencies, even the Fish and Wildlife Service, the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality, water. All these different regulatory and other entities have set parameters that we are within, and we are the line officer that makes the decision, whether it's a district ranger or a forest supervisor, regional forester, decides that we want these short-term impacts for the long-term benefit of a healthier forest, a safer forest, better trees, healthier trees, better wildlife habitat. Maybe we by thinning the forest and taking out some underbrush, we might get more grasses and forbs and shrubs coming up. That's going to hold the soil in place better in the long term than the short term impact of some equipment for a few months. This is years and years and years of better soil, more water coming down into the water table. So we want, the beautiful part about the Highland Center is they have trails. This grant is going to get them some signs and some brochures. So even on a weekend when we're all at home, sound asleep, someone can go to the Highland Center, get out of their car, pick up a brochure, hike the trails, and learn about all of this that's going on and see the results.
They can
and
see
focus on the results. You bet. And that's a beautiful part about the Highland Center. It's close to town. Gets a lot of visibility coming out the Walker Road to Lynx Lake. Very highly visible recreation site for the Prescott National Forest. And we want to be able to send people to the Highland Center to say, you have questions about the treatments we're doing? Please go to their program. Please go take the walk around the Stretch Pebble Loop and pick up the brochure about the treatments and see where we have masticated. We are hoping to prescribe burn along the Stretch Pebble Loop. We're going to have a little bit of an active timber sale, if not on their area visible.
Or adjacent to it, right adjacent.
Literally on the line. And what I want to do is shift people's paradigms to become more comfortable because they're focusing on the results instead of the process to get there.
When talking about the process, how do you guys determine what type of treatment you're going to use?
So the first thing I would say we would do is we look at, okay, what would historically have been there? Is it too dense now? Are there too many trees? What was fire's role in that? So there's many factors that we look at. We look at what wildlife species utilize that area, what habitat requirements spotted owls, goshawks need. So there's many factors. Your soil specialist, your wildlife biologist, your archaeologist, all the ologists basically analyze that area and would come up with recommendations as well. From my standpoint, from a forester, I'm looking at it from you look at it a long time scale. So, versus some people may think, oh my goodness, that looks terrible, but if you look into the future, it may not look so bad. Some areas we may lack little trees now. We may have a lot of trees that are of a certain size, too many, and so we would try to thin the forest to regenerate some new trees.
You mentioned about as far as education with the public, they can go to the Highland Center and pick up a brochure and kind of better understand what you guys are doing there. What are other ways you guys are educating the public? I mean, and getting that information out there as far as, helping them better understand prescribed fire, the benefits of that. Are there other ways you guys are helping educate the public?
I'm always available for talks. Well, I'd like to be, but one of the things I did, I put a PowerPoint on our website on the Dosey fire and how it recovered, and explaining to people that fire is a natural process on the landscape. We need it. We try to do that every summer and fall and spring when we're doing our prescribed burning. Every time I give a talk, I'm going to do Cub Scout forestry badges on Thursday, and there's a list of 10 things, and one of them is the role of wildfire. I never pass up an opportunity to explain to people fire's natural role on the landscape in the Ponderosa Pine Forest in Arizona. It's a natural part of the landscape, and I try to weave it into just about every message I give, whether it's Cub Scouts, the Kiwanis, right here and now. It's who we are and what we do.
When there's a fire, a wildfire that occurs naturally, whether it's from lightning or not, when does it? Because as you just mentioned, it's a natural process. It's something that's been happening as long as it's been here. The forest has been here. When does it get kind of concerning, and where it looks like, okay, it's no longer benefiting?
That's going to be based on so many different factors, so far above our head, and it's going to be there's literally a list that the people that are making the decisions go through a checklist, and it has to do with life and property and safety and how the fire's behaving. I was on a fire just this summer where it started in untreated areas, burned through some areas that had never been treated because they were too steep. They didn't have roads in there. They were not accessible, and they happened to be spotted owl nesting areas. And when it came out of there and it hit stewardship projects, it dropped to the ground and burned more naturally, and it was easier and safer to fight that fire and to stop that fire once the fire behavior changed, when the fuels and the way the fuels were structured. We call it fuel modeling. When the fuel model changed, the fire behavior changed, and it was safer, and we had more options than when it came through the part where it was untreated. Our only option was to put retardant on it and wait until the fire behavior changed. And once it hit areas that had been thinned, and it got to a more natural behavior, there were places where it hit the ground, it burned to the edge of the stream, and it stopped. And that's exactly what we wanted to do.
That's a great
it was
example
very
of how
cool.
the treatment can kind of help manage how the fire
It was
burns.
the San Juan fire on the Apache Sitgreaves, and it's been actually used as an example of how these treatments so drastically can change the fire behavior on an active fire to a point where we can actually, we used the treatments to burn out in front of the fire so that when it came up to some of the other areas, it just, the fuel was gone and it was done. And that was how we contained it.
Wow, okay, well, we're going to take our second break. And again, we're talking about the restoration projects, all of them going on in the Prescott National Forest and the upcoming ones as well. We're going to take our second break. We'll be back here in a couple minutes.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Time to wake up. I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Don't forget, you've got a job to do today.
Hey, Mom. I got the job. Thanks.
Got the job. Welcome aboard.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does. And like that, you're a job creator. Get out to the forest.
Let the kids connect to their roots. It's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah! Woo-hoo!
Hey, guys, wait up!
And discover the wonders of nature with your family.
These trees are the key to our way of life.
Fresh air.
What a glorious morning!
Clean water.
Woohoo! This is great!
An endless forest adventure.
Let's rock this jungle! Yo, this is untapped territory.
How amazing!
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Welcome back to Countywide. I'm Kyle Benedict, and joined with forester on the Prescott National Forest, Ben Deblois, and wildlife biologist Noel Fletcher. And real quick, we only have a couple minutes left here, but there's a meeting coming up for the public so they can kind of help better understand kind of what's going on with this over at the Highland Center there. When is that?
The first meeting that we're going to have is January 23rd. It's a Friday evening at 6 o'clock. And what we're doing there is just kind of discussing the vegetation management plan that we've been drafting for the Highland Center for Natural History. So it'll be kind of a springboard. We want to do things here first and then expand out from there. And some people have asked, well, how fast are you going to implement this? And it's going to be over several years. Okay. We don't have the means to implement everything all at once, nor do we want to implement everything at once. Kind of will create a mosaic across that 80-acre parcel.
And that meeting's open to the public?
It is.
Anyone who wants to attend. Okay, great. And so you guys have, a lot of stuff going on, and I appreciate you guys coming in here and talking about that. It's important to get the word out that it's all beneficial, and everything that you guys are kind of recreating almost a natural occurrence here, right?
We're trying to do restoration. We're trying to restore the health and the natural processes on the landscape, and by doing that, we will restore the soils, the plants, the wildlife, all of it, and it'll be healthier and safer. We'll have less smoke if you can tolerate a little bit more now, and it'll just be a healthier, safer place to be, and with it will come more wildlife, different wildlife, and healthier. When we masticate the shrubs and they grow back, they're softer, more palatable, and more nutritious browse for deer and things like that. So
great. Noel Fletcher and Ben Deblois from Prescott National Forest, thank you guys again for being here.
Thank you for having us, Kyle.
I'm Kyle Benedict. That's today's Countywide, and we'll see you next time.